On October 4th, 2002, Desie Breadon's life changed forever. On this day, his older brother Gavin, just 29 years old, tragically passed away. Desie idolized Gavin. Gavin was the reason he got into sports and strength and conditioning. He's a big reason why he got into coaching, teaching, and impacting others. Everything Desie does in his life now is for Gavin. My name's Corey Kundert. I'm the host of Wisco Legacy. This is part one of a two-part podcast. This is For Gavin, a story about the impact Gavin Breadon and his family had on Desie's life.
And again, everything I've done in life has been, kind of modeled after him, even when he was alive.
For Gavin is a story about two brothers, Gavin Breadon and Desie Breadon. Gavin is Desie's oldest brother. Gavin passed away tragically on October 4th, 2002 from a heart attack while attending medical school in Dublin. Desie was devastated when Gavin passed away. He had some really challenging times after that, and he's really dedicated his life to living for Gavin. So this story chronicles the impact that Gavin had made on Desie's life. Desie also talks about the rest of his family, which is made up of his mother and father, Gabrielle and George Breadon, and his two other brothers, Enda and Owen. In this beginning part here, Desie talks about the rich Irish heritage and gives a few stories about growing up in the Monroe area, and talks about their family really getting rooted here right in Monroe.
Oh, yeah. And we always joke about that. We've been joking about that a lot the last couple of weeks of this rogue Irish family in in a deep Swiss community. So my mom and dad moved over from Ireland in '73, and they moved up to Rochester, Minnesota first, and had my three brothers. And then in late in '77, they moved down to Monroe. My dad was a doctor at the Mayo Clinic, and there was a number of doctors from the Mayo who had moved down to Monroe, and my mom and dad got talked into coming down and checking it out, and they really liked it and moved down. And then I was born, and they were only planning on staying a couple years. And 47 years later, they're still here. And so they became citizens back in early 2000s. So they were, but it's been nice because we've got dual citizenship in both Ireland and the U.S. and got three older brothers. So the four of us are in 5 years. So that caused a lot of damage to a lot of areas.
A lot of scraps in the living room, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. We were telling a story the other day. My dad didn't know about we used to close all the doors in the second floor of my mom and dad's house, and it made it kind of like an octagon, and we used to pound the heck out of each other. We'd have pillow fights and wrestle and everything else. And one of my daughter's favorite stories is I was getting pounded on the one time, and we're having a pillow fight, and then we'd stop and have water breaks and stuff. And so I was sick of getting beat on because I was the smallest. So I put a big book in my pillowcase when we started our pillow fight again, and I smacked my brother Gavin with it right in the face, and he went right through my mom and dad's door. And oh yeah, they were not happy. And my mom made the mistake of getting us all boxing gloves at one point, and we used to pound on each other with those. So yeah, it was great growing up with them. My parents were real big on making sure I had, knew my Irish heritage, knew different stuff. We went over usually every couple of years back over to Ireland, still trying to get over every couple of years. My cousins would come over. So it was interesting growing up because we didn't have any family over here. So, holidays, everything else, it was just our immediate family. But it was really neat when you got to go back over there when, relatives came here from Australia and stuff. So they have a real diverse, knowledge of culture and stuff like that because of it. And again, my parents always hammered that of, know where you come from and enjoy, revel in that of be proud of your heritage.
The Breadon family's made quite an impact on the community here and left a great legacy here in Monroe. Here, Desie talks about all the community involvement that his family has been involved in.
From, optimist to junior optimist to stuff with swim team to mat rats to, that was a big thing that they hammered on us. That they were, they didn't just say it to us; that they showed us, to be involved in your community, to be proud of it, and do as much as you can to help in your community, and especially with the youth. And I think that was a big reason why I've gotten into coaching. I mean, besides my oldest brother, but they were so involved with youth in so many different ways, and try to make things better for the youth of the community. So again, my mom and dad were always doing stuff with Optimist Club for youth, bike rodeos and fishing clinics and the whole 9 yards. And we always went with and always trying to help people that weren't all as well off as you, or just try and make people's lives better. And again, and then my oldest brother started the Monroe Mat Rats program, again, to give back from a sport he loved, and keep it going for future generations. And so that's been a big thing, is just whatever you can do to help out your community in whatever way. And my mom was always real big on going and helping older people, and it's been interesting. She spent a long time with people with dementia and Alzheimer's. And so that's been, again, now it's completely come full circle. So to have people back there for her while she's going through that of, again, kind of that pay it forward.
Yeah, your family is so well known around here. They've done so much for the community. They've done so much for me and my family too. I mean, I got a scholarship out of high school in memory of your brother. We'll talk about in a little bit, and that helped me get to college and whatnot. So there's the impact that they've made is tremendous. So yeah. Speaking of your parents, they recently sold their house, like I think yesterday, right? Um,
Yep.
my parents just did the same thing a few months ago. They sold the house that I grew up in, and it, I'm really excited for them. They moved to town closer to, I mean, they're only 10 minutes outside of town for us, but closer to the grandkids and all that, and just more convenient life for them. Um, yours is probably a different situation there, but can you talk about just going through all the memories in that house and how you're feeling after that house is sold?
It's been an interesting experience. We've been working on it for quite a while. We've known for quite a while. It's just way too big a house for those two. And then especially now that my mom's in the nursing home and stuff, it's too much house, and then the grass and the snow and everything else. Um, it was just too much for my dad, and he needed to move and be somewhere smaller, and just take that stress off of him. But yeah, trying to go through it. Well, one of the kids I used to coach, he's one of my assistant coaches now, has become a very good friend of mine. It was funny, we were working on stuff the other day, and I stopped, was going through some different memories on stuff with him. Was showing him there's a bedroom off of my bedroom, and used to sneak out there. Yeah, I'll plead the fifth on a lot of that stuff, but so I was showing him different stuff, and then we were looking at all the stuff we had to go through, and it's just such a big old house, and there was so much stuff there. And I said to him, I said, me and Gav used to always joke that if mom and dad ever sold and we had to get rid of all this stuff, that we were either going to be dead or out of the country. And he's like, I can't believe you just went there. And I'm like, I needed to laugh, and I know he'd be up there laughing about it. So, yeah, but there, so many things that you haven't thought of in 30, 40 years. I didn't think it was going to be as emotional as it was the last couple of days. Leaving Thursday night and knowing I wasn't going to be back on Friday. That was kind of going to be the last one. It was like that last episode of Cheers, where
Mm-hmm.
Sam's kind of looking around the bar and then finally turns off the lights, and yeah, it was like that leaving Thursday night. It was a lot more emotional than I thought it would be, but there was a lot of great memories too. My kids love hearing the stories of, you know, me and their uncles and Mamo and Dado and us growing up and all the different wild stories there were. So it was really good to go through it, but it was really tough at times too. So and I'm really glad I was there, helped my dad get through it because you could see, again, it was very emotional for him. They've been
Mm-hmm.
there for 45 years. So, but I'm glad because now things will be a lot easier, a lot less stressful on him and my
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, it's a tough transition. My parents, like I said, did the same kind of thing this year, and um, they honestly don't really miss their old place. They like being in town and stuff. So I hope your dad has that same experience. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I think you will. You can see he's already pretty excited about it being in a smaller place and not having all those extra stresses. And
Hmm.
yeah, you can see he's excited.
Awesome. So you've had some really challenging times in your life. Your oldest brother, we've talked a little bit about already, Gavin. He passed away in 2002 at just 29 years old. I had known Gavin a little bit when I was a kid. He started the youth wrestling program here in Monroe, the Monroe Mat Rats, and so I knew him when I was really little. You Can you just talk about the challenging times, around losing Gavin and how Gavin has really impacted your life since then?
It's funny because they always talk about you can remember the minute certain things happened. And I'll still remember until I'm, 105 years old. Um, when my mom and dad came down, I was living down in Iowa, going to school, and they came down and told me. The next day was, or 2 days later, was my dad's birthday, so I was supposed to meet him in Iowa City. And they kept coming, kept saying they were going to come down all the way to Pella, and and I'm like, well, no, you don't. My really weird how it worked. My dog got hit by a car that same day. So they kept using that as an excuse to come all the way down. And I'm like, no, I'll meet you guys in Iowa City. And I could tell something was wrong. So then I came and told me. Um, and again, it was, yeah, just lost. Was about the best way. Um, we always joke that it's like that old cartoon where you had the big bulldog walking down the street. You had the little dog bouncing around him the whole time. And hey, Spike, what are we gonna? That was kind of the way I always felt around Gav. Whatever he did, I did. And as many times as he told me, everything I do is an example of what not to do. I still try to do it even worse or better, however you want to look at it. But it was interesting. TC said it. Father Campion said it at his at Gav's funeral. It wasn't like he was just an older brother to the four of us, or, three of us. That it was kind of like he was a young dad at the same time. He was always so good at for one being there for all four or all three of us, and you know always making sure we all stayed in line. When we were traveling or whatever it was, he was kind of in charge of us three knuckleheads, and you know, he was, growing up, my mom and dad being from Ireland, they didn't know sports. They or American sports for sure. They didn't know baseball. They didn't know football, wrestling. Um, So, I felt bad. Gav, didn't have somebody who could teach him all those. There was a lot of great people who did, but he couldn't get those at home. But he learned about them, and then he was good to pass it on to us. He would take me and my brother, on and end outside, and we'd play catch, and he'd show us how to do different stuff from what he had learned. And same thing, then the amount of time he gave up to work with me on wrestling and stuff like that. And, you know, so it was, again, it wasn't just an older brother. It was kind of like a young dad. And again, everything I've done in life has been, kind of modeled after him. Even when he was alive, I got into swimming because he was in swimming. Football because he played football, track, wrestling. I got into strength and conditioning because that's what he did. Obviously I really liked it, but again, he had that impact. He got me lifting from a young age, taught me about it, would take me to the gym. It wasn't just like, there's my pesky brother, you go over here. He would bring me in. And so again, everything I've done is, has been because of stuff he taught me or worked with me on. And as hard as it's been losing him, and it's tough at times still, there's times you want to call him up, talk to him about stuff. Obviously you can't. It's tough, like playing with my kids, and how great Uncle Gavin would have been with them, how much they would have enjoyed him, and they don't get that experience. They don't get to know him. So making sure they know him, by talking about him. And, again, the one of them we talk about in my classroom, I talk with my football players about, different people have different values and stuff like that. And a lot of people are worried about money and different stuff. And the best thing Gav ever taught me, is it's the impact you have on other people's lives. That that's the most important thing. It's not about material possessions, anything else. And everybody's always searching for this, secret for life. What's the secret of life? And I remember we were going up to Madison, and we were having one of the rare times we had a deep conversation. Most of them were, you know, brotherly type of conversations. So we were having this deep conversation about life and everything else, and he's like, Des, he's like, you know what the secret of life is? And I was like, no. I'm like, everybody's looking for it. Why don't you tell me? Because I'd probably make a million if I could sell that off. And he's like, it's simple. He's like, it's doing what you love, but helping others while you do it. And I was like, wow, that's really, really simple, but that's right on the money. And I try and take that into everyday stuff I do, is helping other people, doing stuff I love, but helping other people along the way. And, and that's again, why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And, that's been his biggest mark he's left on me. But again, there was a long time where I was really lost without him, and didn't know what to do. Couldn't make it through a lot of stuff. Had to take some time off school, but luckily have made it back on the right path. On where he wanted me to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's probably some pretty dark times. I mean, he's made an impact on a lot of other people, but he certainly made a tremendous impact on you and your family. And um, that had to be, I just couldn't imagine going through that at that point in your life. And yeah, I'm glad that you're bringing those lessons to your day every single day. You're teaching those lessons to your students and your athletes and your kids, and really keeping that legacy of Gavin around. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we had mentioned there's a couple ways that Gavin's memory still around right now. We have the Gavin Breadon Memorial Swim Meet yearly
Hmm.
here in Monroe. Um, Gavin, again, he started the Monroe Mat Rat wrestling program, so his memories definitely shared through there as well. Can you talk about the swim meet, because I know that has a tremendous impact on the community? Can you talk about what the swim meet does and some of the things around that?
So we some girls that Gavin swam with came up with this great idea after he passed away about setting up doing a swim meet, and then for one just to remember him. So we do it as a inter squad meet with the MAST program, Monroe Area Swim Team, through Park and Rec, and the first couple of years, and even still, it's available, but it's just harder and harder as we get older. It's open for alumni too, and so the it's an inter squad swim meet to start off the year, and then again, alumni are a lot, can swim at it too, and so those first couple of years, there was still a lot of alumni around, so they and we were still in swimsuit shape. So we would swim in it too, which made it really fun. You get to see a lot of people, and again, you get to talk about all those different things with younger swimmers. And then we have an auction at it. So we have my brother Owen is a glass blower, so he donates a lot of pieces that we sell, and everything we sell goes towards the Gavin Breadon Memorial Scholarship. So what that is we give every year 10 scholarships to Monroe high school students, and then there's kind of a criteria um, with grade point average and different sports they've been in, and then they have to write an essay and stuff like that. Um, and choosing good people, and again trying again to help people and remember him through his name. We also have it where another part of that scholarship is kids that want to go to youth sports camps. There's some kids who would love to go, don't have the money, so they can apply for that, and then we'll pay a portion of that as well, so they can have that experience. We went to a ton of sports camps growing up. Um, we had that opportunity. There's a lot of kids that don't, so we want to give them that opportunity. So everything that's made from that goes into that, and I had it figured out the other day, and now I just forgot the number of scholarships we've given out. It's been amazing to see that help different students, whether they're and it doesn't matter. They don't have to be going into a certain field. They can be going to a tech school or whatever. We want to see them do what they love and help them out as much as we can. There's So that's what the swim meet is. And again, it's great seeing there's a bunch of his friends that still come back for it or stop by or will bid on stuff there to help money for it. So it's nice to see that continuing for Monroe High School students, for youth kids in the area. So that it's been a great thing. I can't thank the girls that set it up. Jamie Dickey and Mary Monahan and Shannon Martini, I think, was in there, and obviously Marge. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Then Noel Hines or Noel Herps. So there was a number of them, and I can't thank them enough for coming up with that idea and getting it started. We've also done a medical school scholarship in his name through Greene County Medical Society, which has been great. It helped a lot of kids get to medical school because that's where Gav was in medical school when he passed away. So again, helping that tradition.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff there. Being able to have that
Mm.
fund in order to help those people in Monroe is great. It's definitely
Mm.
Gavin's definitely left a great legacy in his short 29 years. So um,
Hmm.
I'm thankful for the opportunity to receive that scholarship. That was honestly just knowing you and your family when I went in for scholarship night at Monroe High School. That was the one I was
looking forward to most is getting that one. So yeah, appreciate everything you and your family do for that.
There were two key things that helped Desie through his grief process after losing his brother, Gavin. The wrestling program at Central College and Central College as a whole. So right here, Desie talks about how wrestling impacted that, and his college community there impacted it as well.
So I transferred down to Central, went out for wrestling, absolutely loved it. If I wouldn't have made it, if I wouldn't have made that switch, if I, for one, wrestling gave me that built-in safe zone. All the different things, like, again, Gav passing away, all the other rough times I had I had a pretty rough college. Took some time off. I had 13 people that were close that passed away, through part of high school and through college. 13 people in 11 years. It was just, it was a lot.
That's a lot. Wow.
I wouldn't have made it. Yeah, I wouldn't have made it through without the people at Central, without making that change to wrestle there and then to go to school. There's so many amazing people there. They sent my daughter a birthday card still the other day. So again, what college sends a 10-year-old kid a birthday card,
right?
Which again shows what a great place it is. Our wrestling coach, Matt Deal, lived 2 doors down from us, so I knew I could always go there. Had a safe spot. But again, I still talk to a bunch of the guys I wrestle with a couple times a week. I talked to a couple of them this week. Our heavyweight and our 118 pounder, I talked to both of them this week, and still good friends with them again because of that wrestling connection. So
nice.
Wrestling had a huge impact.
Desie initially had his sights set on going to med school just like his older brother Gavin. Having a conversation with one of his counselors at school helped change his path into exercise science. Here Desie talks about changing that path and the impact that a few people had in that decision.
One of the big ones is I met with my advisor, Dr. Richards, and it was great because Dr. Richards was Gav's advisor. So I knew her before I even transferred. Like I said, her and John Dobrenecker. John was in charge of the student counseling. Those two and a couple others, I can guarantee I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for those two. But Dr. Richards made the point to me. She's like, you can do pre-med and, you can go that route. But she's like, if you don't get in, if you decide that's not what you want to do, you're stuck. She's like, but if you go into exercise science, here's all these different millions of careers you can go into. So she got me switched over to that. And then obviously just loved doing stuff with the body and working out and learning about the body. And, again, so many different aspects in that career you could go into. So that's why I went into it. And, again, loved going to class when it was exercise science classes. Some of the other ones I may or may not have made all of them, but again, plead the fifth on that one. There's a lot of pleading the fifth with my younger days. But yeah, so she helped me make that change, and I'm glad. It was a great one.
What drew you to coaching, and were there any influential coaches over the years that helped you get there?
There's been a lot of influential. Again, it comes back to, a lot of it to playing sports with my brothers. Gav was a big influence on it because he had coached me in a lot of stuff. And then seeing his impact on kids.
The first 2 years, Desie was on the coaching staff for the Blackhawk football team. They won 2 state titles. Here, Desie talks about winning those 2 state titles as a coach. He actually won a state title in football for the Monroe Cheesemakers back in his playing days. But here Desie talks all about winning those 2 state titles.
I do want to talk about those 2 state title runs quickly here. So what was it like walking on that field at Camp Randall and then being able to hoist those gold balls up?
It was awesome. I haven't been there as a player. having been, played at Camp Randall, winning it as a junior, taking second as a senior, but still just being there, but being able to be on, both sides of it as a player, and then now being able to do it, being able to do it as an assistant coach 2 years. Being able to get both was amazing. Most people would hope to just get on there once as one or the other. So to get it both was phenomenal. In 2018, I was up in the booth, so it was a little different because then you're up there, you're watching stuff, and then you're trying to get down so you can get in on the celebration, and you get so much emotions. And then in 2019, being on the field and trying to keep everything at the end, and there. It was an amazing experience. It was like, one of those ones you wish it was like Groundhog's Day, that you could just keep reliving that day because it was just so much fun, so enjoyable. The kids were phenomenal. It was definitely, one of the best days I've ever had coaching. So much to enjoy being a part of. Yeah, it was awesome. It was.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to fully describe it. But it was interesting because got done with that first one, and you're seeing everybody run around, and you're seeing them host a trophy, and this is a goal I've been set out for how many years to be a part of a state championship as a coach. And one of the real, things that I'm sitting there thinking about why I see that actually happen is, I'm sitting there thinking about Gav and that impact and, all the things with him. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And, thinking of, doing it in his name and was, yeah, that's what I kept thinking about and was pretty neat.
As I wrap up each episode of Wisco Legacy, I ask my guests one final question. And this final question is, when all is said and done, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? And as Desie talks through this, all I can think about is his older brother, Gavin, and the impact that he has made on his life. Gavin certainly created a great legacy for him. He left an incredible legacy behind in just those short 29 years that he was down here with us. But you can see Gavin through Desie as he's talking and describing the legacy that he's striving for.
The biggest thing thinking about it, teaching, coaching, being a husband, I just want to be remembered that I had a positive impact on people's lives. Not concerned about money or again want to win more state titles and do all those things. I want to have have the accolades. I don't want to be remembered for them. I want to be remembered for having that positive impact on on people's lives. I'm a different person because of the impact you had on my life. That's when all is said and done. That if that's what I want to be remembered for. I don't want to be remembered for anything else. I'm sure there's plenty of people who might remember me in other ways, maybe not the best, but I just want to impact people's life in a positive way and just say, I got here because of things you did. You left a footprint on my heart, and that's kind of where it is.
That's awesome.
That would be my legacy.
That's a great legacy. I mean, I can tell you from experience, being the little middle school wrestler that I was, you made a significant impact in my life, my wrestling career. Some of the things that you instilled in me at that young age, I still dive into. Obviously, I've lost a ton of weight over the last year, and part of that was through the hard work and determination that you helped forge in me in middle school. So, just from my perspective, you're definitely living that legacy.
October 4th, 2002 changed Desie's life forever. It was the day he lost his older brother, Gavin, the man he looked up to more than anybody in this world. he had some challenging times after Gavin passed away, but he's now living life for Gavin. Everything he's done since Gavin passed away, he's tried and strived to do it for Gavin. I personally think Desie's doing a great job dealing with all the loss that he's had over the years and all the things he's endured. Gavin would be proud. He would be proud. He's looking down at all the things that Desie's accomplished, all the family he's created down here, and I just know Gavin's looking down, and he's really proud of everything that Desie's done and gone through. Desie, thank you for talking to me about Gavin and the impact that he made in your life. I know it was tremendous. He made a tremendous impact on a lot of folks, but none more than the impact he made on your family. So thank you very much. This is episode 13 of Wisco Legacy. This is called For Gavin. This is part 1 of my Desie Breadon episode. Part 2 comes out tomorrow, and you'll find that on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Part 2 is more focused on Desie's career and life beyond his family there. We talk a lot about going to college and in high school and his career. He owned a gym for a while, and getting into teaching and those sorts of things. And coaching, we spent a lot of time talking about coaching as well. So that's kind of the focus for part 2 of Desie's episode that's released tomorrow. So I hope you check that out. If you enjoyed this episode, go hit subscribe on YouTube. Give us a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. That's the best way to support Wisco Legacy.